Hello, EJK here, and I'm going to be showing you guys a video on how to effectively take engagements both as a Terran player and a Zerg player in the TvZ matchup. The first important step as a Terran player is that you want to create a concave position with your army. Concaves are essential to winning any TvZ fight as a Terran player. Having your army in a concave position oftentimes is the difference between an overwhelming victory or devastating defeat. A concave, also known as pre-spreading your bio units, decreases the surface area in which banelings can effectively connect against your bio army, as well as increasing the surface area of your army, allowing it to deal maximum damage to the Zergling baneling army. In order to ensure maximum efficiency with your army, you must keep track of what your reinforcements are doing throughout an engagement. Reinforcements play a pivotal role in giving you the extra units necessary to turn the tide of war in a bio versus Ling bane engagement. Rally your production to the fight so that your reinforcing units can be part of the engagement. Additionally, units being rallied in will also help make your concave larger. Stimming your reinforcements to the fight allows them to double time their movement speed. However, be wary that they don't come in too early and that the stim doesn't wear off by the time the fight occurs. In order to buy extra time to set up more effective concave formations, you must rely on tanky units such as Thors, Marauders, and Hellbats to take the initial wave of damage so that the Marines in your army are given a chance to spread out. Good Widow Mine shots will also put the Ling Bane army further away from your bio army, accomplishing the task of buying additional time to create that oh so crucial concave army posture. In this upcoming engagement, we see a Widow Minefield and Thors and Marauders at the front line to buy time for Tasia to create a small concave with the remainder of his Marines. The reinforcements at the bottom of the screen complete a larger concave as they enter the engagement, turning the battle in Tasia's favor. As a Zerg player, there are a couple things to take into consideration before engaging a Terran army. When a Zerg player engages a Terran army, they should always try to attack before the Terran player sets up a concave formation. By getting on top of and catching a Terran army off guard before the concave position is achieved, the Zerg player can deal maximum damage. While the bio units are attempting to create a concave, the Terran army is at its weakest because the Terran units are no longer firing as they scramble to split apart and create a concave. Although Tasia gets a decent Widow Mine shot off at the start of this engagement, his Marines were not in a concave, and as they attempt to spread out, large clusters of Marines are no longer dealing damage as they create a concave, allowing life to take a victory in this engagement. Zerg players can also utilize flanks to create advantageous positioning against Terran armies. Flanking a Terran bio army will decrease the amount of space that the Terran player can split their army in. Flanking from a different angle also gives the potential to circumvent Widowmine, Thor, Marauder, and Hellbat walls that are generally found towards the front of the bio army. In this engagement, Su's baneling flank is able to circumvent the Widowmine, Thor walls at the front of the army and instead get right on top of the Marines, allowing him to take a decisive victory in this engagement. Later in the game, Su's army split up into 3 different groups, barrels down on Tasia's bioforce. The flanking banelings are able to catch the Marines as they dip back to create a concave, dealing some serious damage before that concave is set up. The last tip in this video for Zerg players involves sending your army in multiple waves to prolong the engagement. If you can keep the fight going over 2 stim charges instead of 1, each consecutive stim that is used weakens the Terran army exponentially and increases the damage potential that banelings can inflict against the weakened Marines with their splash damage. In this example, Su fights with the majority of his army during the first wave, and brings additional banelings to complement his reinforcing lings to create the second wave, which ultimately drives Tasia off. Notice how, as Su is fighting during his first wave versus Tasia's army, Tasia stims once. As that first wave dies and Su sends a second wave into fight with his reinforcing Zerglings, Tasia stims a second time, which severely weakens his army and allows Su to drive off Tasia's army before any more critical damage is dealt.